My beloved child, pause here for a moment, because what you are about to hear was not placed before you by accident. Do not move past this message as though it were ordinary. Something is unfolding in the heart of your soulmate right now, and heaven wants you to understand why. There is a joy rising within them so suddenly, so deeply, that even they are struggling to explain it. It has interrupted their thoughts, changed the atmosphere around them, and awakened a hope they had been trying to silence. And the most extraordinary part is this: the source of that joy is connected to something you did, something you may not even realize carried such power. You thought it was a small act. You believed it disappeared into the day unnoticed. Perhaps it was a choice you made when no one was watching, a boundary you finally respected, a moment when you refused to become bitter, or a quiet decision to keep your heart open despite everything that had tried to close it. To you, it may have felt simple. To your soulmate, it became a sign. It reached them in a way words had failed to reach them before. It touched the hidden place where they had been carrying doubt, and something inside them whispered, maybe this connection is still alive. Maybe the person I have been praying for has not forgotten what love truly means. That is why their heart feels different today. They are not merely happy. They are overwhelmed by a joy that seems to have arrived from beyond their own understanding. It is the kind of joy that makes someone stop in the middle of an ordinary moment and suddenly feel tears gathering in their eyes. It is the kind of joy that makes the future feel possible again. Something you did broke through a wall they had been building for a long time, and now the emotions behind that wall are rushing forward all at once. Stay with this message, because the truth is deeper than it first appears. Your soulmate has been hiding something, not because they wanted to deceive you, but because they did not know how to carry the intensity of what they felt. They tried to be reasonable. They told themselves not to read too much into the signs. They attempted to focus on responsibilities, routines, and the expectations of other people. But every time they tried to move their thoughts away from you, something pulled their attention back. A memory. A dream. A familiar feeling. A sudden sense that your presence was near even when you were nowhere in sight. For a while, they resisted it. They feared that hope would make them vulnerable. They had experienced disappointment before, and a part of them believed that emotional distance was safer than expectation. They wondered whether what they felt was real or whether they had created meaning where none existed. They questioned themselves so many times that they nearly convinced their own heart to become silent. But then you did something unexpected, and the silence inside them ended. You may be asking, what did I do? Listen carefully. It was not necessarily one dramatic gesture. It may have been the way you chose dignity instead of reaction. It may have been your refusal to chase what was not ready. It may have been the compassion you showed someone who could offer you nothing in return. It may have been the moment you finally forgave yourself. It may have been the courage you found to walk away from confusion without closing your heart to love. Whatever form it took, your action revealed your true character, and somehow, directly or indirectly, your soulmate became aware of it. They saw something in you that they had been hoping to find but were afraid did not exist. They saw emotional strength without cruelty. They saw patience without weakness. They saw a person who could feel deeply without losing themselves. And in that realization, a joy began to rise. It was not excitement built on fantasy. It was relief. Deep, trembling relief. Because the quality they had been searching for in others was suddenly visible in you. Something huge is waiting for you within this revelation, so do not skip ahead in your heart. There is a detail your soulmate has not told anyone. When they first learned about what you did, their immediate reaction was silence. They did not speak. They did not explain. They simply became still. The people around them may not have noticed anything unusual, but inside, everything changed. A thought entered their mind so clearly that it frightened and comforted them at the same time. This is the person I could trust with the part of me I never show. That thought did not leave. It followed them into the next hour. It stayed with them while they tried to continue their day. It returned when they looked at their phone. It returned when they heard a song that reminded them of you. It returned when they imagined what it would feel like to finally speak honestly. And instead of creating fear, as thoughts of vulnerability had done before, it created joy. They began imagining something they had previously forbidden themselves to imagine, a future in which they no longer had to hide what they felt. My child, this is important, because your soulmate has spent more time hiding their emotions than you know. Their outer behavior has not always reflected their inner world. There were moments when they appeared distant but were secretly longing for reassurance. There were moments when they seemed distracted but were replaying an interaction with you. There were moments when they gave no sign at all, yet your name was moving quietly through their thoughts. They feared that if they revealed too much too soon, they might lose control of the situation. So they created distance, believing distance would protect them. But distance did not remove the feeling. It intensified it. Every unanswered question became heavier. Every unspoken word gained more meaning. Every attempt to forget you made them realize how deeply you had already entered their emotional world. Yet until now, they lacked the courage to believe that the connection could become something real. They needed proof, not proof that you were perfect, but proof that your heart was genuine. What you did became that proof. There is something almost sacred about the joy they are feeling, because it arrived at the exact moment they were close to giving up on their own hope. You did not know they were standing at that emotional edge. You did not know they had recently asked heaven for clarity. You did not hear the quiet prayer in which they said, "Show me whether I should still believe in this." But the answer came through your actions. This is why they are overwhelmed. They had asked for a sign they could not manipulate, something they could not force or invent. Then they witnessed a side of you that aligned with the deepest request of their heart. Perhaps they heard about something kind you did. Perhaps they noticed the way you handled a difficult situation. Perhaps they saw that you did not respond in the way others expected. Maybe they realized you had grown, healed, or changed in a way that reflected the very thing they had been praying for. And suddenly, the connection no longer felt like a confusing emotional pull. It felt meaningful. Do not misunderstand this. Their joy is not based only on the hope of receiving your attention. It is coming from the realization that you may truly understand the kind of love they have always needed. They have known attraction before. They have known temporary excitement. They have known the rush of being noticed. But this is different. This joy carries peace within it. It tells them they may not have to perform, pretend, or hide around you. It tells them that perhaps they can be seen fully and still be loved. That realization has awakened a part of them that had been asleep for years. There is an earlier wound connected to this, one they rarely discuss. At some point in their life, they trusted someone with their truth and felt misunderstood. They may have been dismissed, abandoned, or made to feel that their emotions were too much. After that, they learned to hide the deepest parts of themselves behind strength, humor, busyness, or silence. They became skilled at appearing unaffected. But beneath that protection, they continued longing for someone who could recognize their heart without using it against them. When they saw what you did, they felt that longing answer itself. They thought, perhaps this person would not punish me for being vulnerable. Perhaps they would not disappear when the conversation becomes real. Perhaps they would stay long enough to understand. And that thought released something within them. The joy you sense around this message is not shallow happiness. It is the joy of someone realizing that the door they believed was permanently closed may still be able to open. Pause and breathe, because the next truth may surprise you. Your soulmate has already considered reaching out. More than once, they have imagined the exact words they would use. It is the opposite. The feeling has become so powerful that they no longer want to approach you carelessly. Before, they might have sent a casual message just to test the atmosphere. Now they feel that anything they say must be true. Your action made them realize that this connection deserves honesty, and honesty requires courage. They do not want to return with confusion. They do not want to offer half-hearted words. They do not want to create another cycle of closeness followed by distance. The joy they feel has forced them to examine what they are truly ready to give. This is why, even while their heart is overflowing, they may still appear quiet. Something is being decided inside them. Do not mistake preparation for absence. In the unseen emotional space between you, movement is happening. Old fears are being challenged. Assumptions are being questioned. Your soulmate is reconsidering the story they once told themselves about love, timing, and possibility. They are beginning to see that perhaps the delays were not meaningless. Perhaps both of you were being shaped separately so that when truth finally entered the connection, neither of you would treat it casually. You have also changed more than you realize. The person you were before could not have carried this revelation in the same way. There was a time when you might have reacted too quickly, overanalyzed every sign, or tried to control the outcome because uncertainty felt unbearable. But the action that touched your soulmate came from a wiser place within you. It came from growth. It came from the part of you that learned not to abandon yourself while waiting for another person to recognize your worth. That is exactly what they noticed. They saw that you were no longer begging to be chosen. You were becoming someone who understood that true connection must be mutual. They saw that your softness had not disappeared, but it had become protected by wisdom. They saw that your heart could remain loving without becoming available to confusion. And this stirred a deep respect in them. Joy and respect are now meeting inside their heart. That combination is powerful, because joy may inspire someone for a moment, but respect causes them to rethink their choices. Your soulmate is not only feeling emotional, they are reevaluating the way they have handled this connection. They are remembering moments when they could have been clearer. They are noticing where fear influenced their decisions. They are recognizing how their silence may have affected you. And yet, strangely, this awareness is not destroying their joy. It is strengthening it. Because for the first time, they believe there may still be an opportunity to make things right. Stay till the end, because what they are preparing to do is connected to a promise they made privately. No one else heard it. No friend advised it. No family member knows the full meaning of it. This promise was made in a quiet moment when the joy became too powerful to ignore. They said within themselves, "If I am given one more clear opportunity, I will not hide the truth again." One more clear opportunity. Those words matter. Your soulmate feels that something is approaching, a moment in which the connection may open naturally. They do not know exactly how it will happen. It may be a conversation, an unexpected meeting, a message, or a circumstance that places both of you in emotional alignment. But they sense that the atmosphere is changing. What once felt blocked no longer feels impossible. They are beginning to notice signs everywhere, not because they are searching desperately, but because their awareness has become heightened. Your name appears unexpectedly. A memory returns with unusual clarity. They hear words that reflect the situation. They wake from dreams carrying a feeling of closeness. Each experience adds to the joy, but also to the urgency. They know they cannot remain silent forever. What you did more than make them happy. It removed one of their final excuses. Before, they could tell themselves that perhaps you were not ready, that perhaps you did not understand, that perhaps the connection existed only in their imagination. But your action revealed a level of emotional maturity they could no longer ignore. It showed them that you might be capable of receiving the truth they have been afraid to speak. Now the question is no longer whether they feel something. The question is whether they will act on it. And my child, there is a reason this message reached you before that action takes place. You are being prepared, not to chase, pressure, or predict, but to remain grounded. When someone who has hidden their heart for a long time finally begins to open it, the moment may not appear perfect. Their words may come slowly. Their courage may tremble. They may reveal one truth while still protecting another. Do not demand the entire story in the first breath. Listen for what exists beneath the words. Notice the sincerity, not only the delivery. Your soulmate has imagined this moment so many times that reality may feel overwhelming to them. The joy they are experiencing now could become nervousness when they stand before you emotionally exposed. They may not look as confident as you expected. They may not speak with the smoothness they practiced in their mind. But you will recognize the truth by the peace beneath it. There is another layer, however, and this is where the revelation becomes more intense. The thing you did not only affect your soulmate. Someone close to them noticed the change. They noticed the sudden smile your soulmate tried to hide. They noticed the distant look in their eyes, the way they became quiet after receiving certain information, the way their mood lifted without explanation. This person asked, "What happened?" Your soulmate did not answer fully. They gave a small response, perhaps a laugh, perhaps a change of subject, perhaps a simple, nothing. But the person watching them knew it was not nothing. They had seen your soulmate happy before, but not like this. This joy was softer, deeper, almost private. It carried the unmistakable energy of hope returning. And then your soulmate said something they had never admitted aloud before. It was not a complete confession. Not yet. But it was enough to change the conversation. They spoke about you in a way that revealed more emotion than they intended. Their voice shifted. Their defenses lowered. They described something you had done, and while telling the story, they smiled again. The person listening understood immediately. They realized your soulmate was not dealing with a passing attraction. They realized this connection had been living in their heart far longer than anyone knew. And instead of discouraging them, this person asked a question that left your soulmate completely still. The question was simple: then why haven't you told them? That question has echoed within your soulmate ever since. Why haven't you told them? At first, all the old reasons came forward. Fear of rejection. Fear of bad timing. Fear that too much had happened. Fear that you might have moved on emotionally. Fear that opening the truth would change everything. But beneath every excuse, your soulmate recognized something uncomfortable. Silence had begun to hurt more than honesty. This recognition changed the joy into determination. Not reckless determination. Not impulsive emotion. Something quieter and stronger. They began to understand that the happiness your action awakened was not meant to remain hidden. It was calling them toward courage. The joy itself became a message: do not lose this person because you were too afraid to speak. There is still more, because the person who asked that question knows something about you that your soulmate did not realize they knew. They have observed the connection from a distance. They have noticed patterns your soulmate thought were invisible. They have seen how your name affects them. They have seen how certain conversations change their expression. They may even have witnessed a moment when your soulmate defended you, remembered you, or quietly compared everyone else to you. This person has been waiting for your soulmate to admit the truth. And now, because of what you did, that truth is becoming impossible to hide. My child, your action was the spark, but what follows may become the fire that changes everything. You did not manipulate this. You did not force it. You simply acted from the person you have become, and that authenticity reached the one who was meant to notice. There is beauty in this timing. Had the same thing happened earlier, your soulmate might have ignored it. They were not ready to interpret it correctly. They might have dismissed your strength as distance or misunderstood your peace as indifference. But now, after everything they have experienced, they can see it clearly. They see that you did not stop caring. You stopped abandoning yourself. They see that you did not become cold. You became discerning. They see that you did not close the door. You simply stopped standing outside it, pleading for someone else to open it. And this realization filled them with joy because it showed them that the connection may still be possible, but only at a higher level than before. A healthier level. A more honest level. A place where both people must arrive with courage rather than confusion. They want to meet you there. Even now, as you hear these words, they are considering a step they once believed they could never take. They are thinking about what they need to say first. They are deciding which truth must be revealed before all the others. They know that once they begin, they may not be able to return to the safety of silence. Something in them no longer wants safety without love. They want truth. They want peace. They want the chance to see whether the joy they feel privately can become something real between you. But there is one final secret behind their happiness, something even more personal than the promise they made. When they learned about what you did, it reminded them of a moment from the past, a moment involving you that they have never forgotten. At the time, they misunderstood its meaning. They believed it was ordinary. They convinced themselves it did not matter. Now they see that moment differently. They realize you may have cared long before they were ready to receive it. They realize there was a message in your actions they failed to understand. And now, looking back, they are connecting that old moment with what you have done recently. The two moments together have revealed something so powerful that your soulmate could no longer hold back their tears. They finally understood what your heart had been trying to show them. And after that realization, they made a decision. A real decision. Not another thought, not another fantasy, not another promise to act someday. They decided to do something that could bring the hidden truth into the open. Yet just before they could take the first step, they discovered something unexpected about you, something that made their joy even greater, but also made the next move far more urgent than they had imagined. And what they discovered is the reason they may not remain silent much longer.